Lambo, give them a sponsorship.
Yeah, put me on the front of your car. I'll lie on it like I'm not.
We bought Huracan. We bought Huracan, and we called it Beyonce. Because, yeah, everyone.
TJ, welcome to the Tej Talks podcast.
Thank you so much.
You're one letter away from being a Tej.
We'll get there one day. What do I have to do to qualify to get that?
You know what? I don't think we're not accepting any more applications. We're full up. The Tej gang is full up. Right. So when did I first come across you? I think it was a few months ago. I saw you on Facebook posting some very honest stuff. Now I say that as if that's a surprise, but I think generally speaking, on social media there's a certain image or persona a lot of people put out, but you were just like, and especially one of your posts from last week was just raw and honest. So before we get into like what you're doing now in property and who you are, what were you doing before property and what led you into this industry?
Do you know what? I love that question. What was I doing before property? Do you know what? Everyone says the same thing. And I knew you were going to ask that question, so I wanted to come up with something a bit more fancy.
Okay.
I used to train elephants and...
Ooh, that sounds
well, I didn't. I wish I did. The truth is I was one of those typical entrepreneurs who knew he was always going to be an entrepreneur. So we started off selling cookies and malwounds and stealing them from Sainsbury's. So that's how I started my journey into business.
Okay.
So I understood that if you go into school, there are people that are going to want to eat a cookie or eat some sweets during lessons. And it didn't make sense to buy it because I didn't have the money to buy it. So I would buy it, I would steal it and sell it. I'm not recommending you do it. I'm just saying that's how I started, guys.
Are you sorry though to Sainsbury's if they're listening?
Nah, Sainsbury's, they'll be all right. They'll be all right. But I always knew I needed to find an avenue to make money. So I've tried every single thing. I started off this specific company, which is the craziest thing ever, but made me so much money. But it just showed me that any person can genuinely change their life if they put some effort into it.
And what what are you talking about?
It was a roller skating company.
Okay.
Check this. So I fell in hard times and I needed some money. And then just as if, regardless of whatever you believe, whether it's Jesus or The Secret or Law of Attraction, I had a young man or a young lady that posted something through my door. So I think it was like a pizza leaflet. And I'm sitting there saying, I need money, I need money, I need money. Pizza leaflet comes through. I go and pick it up and I'm like, oh my God, I need money. I'm going to do what the same person's doing. I'm going to go out and give leaflets. But I thought, I've got to find a way to differentiate myself. Because I roller skate and I rollerblade, I thought, maybe I can start a rollerblading leaflet delivery company. Now, see, your reaction is how many other people reacted. But it was such a stupid idea. Yeah. Because when you realize that people live, not everyone lives in a block of flats. People live in houses, people have stairs, people have this.
Long drives, grass, yeah.
Yes. But my pitch to the estate agents and the funeral directors, and those were the people that were giving me business, was, trust me, we are going to deliver your leaflets because myself and my team, which was just myself, we're trying to lose weight. So the incentive is to lose weight, so we will definitely deliver your leaflets. Biggest mistake of my life. I think.
How old are you at this point?
More than about 10 years ago now.
Oh, okay, so one of your first ever kind of businesses.
One of my first ever attempts at actually going and changing my life after a rough patch.
Okay.
So my story in terms of falling into property, I started up a recruitment business. Took it all the way to Germany. Things were going incredibly well. Company falls flat on his face because I didn't know what the heck I was doing. So we built it up.
I don't think most recruiters do, to be honest.
Do you know what? I'm not going to say that because some of my friends are still in recruitment. But the truth is, it's all a blag. We're just glorified salespeople. But we were doing things well. And the truth is, you don't know what you don't know. And we thought we knew everything. And we made a series of mistakes. Company comes flat on its face. And I moved back into my mum's.
So you did the roller...
I did the roller skates after.
But that made a lot of money, you said?
No. So I did the roller skating after I come back from Germany.
Okay.
So I failed in Germany. So
Okay.
I'm sitting at home in my mum's transformed garage. And she says to me, okay, cool, you've been crying enough now. Your business was doing well. Start another business or go and get a job. And her threat was, listen, you've cried enough. Either get out of my house or start paying some bills. And I'm like, Mum, aren't you going to hug me? Aren't you going to tell me it's going to be all right? My mum's a typical Nigerian woman. She's like, listen, enough is enough. You got bills to pay over here. So I had to do something. So I started hanging around with one of my cousins, a guy called Emmanuel. He was hanging around with some Asian kids. These Asian kids changed my life in terms of they opened my eyes to a different reality. So I was sulking, but I needed to do something. So I go out with Emmanuel, we're going clubbing, we're trying to meet girls, but we're hanging around with these Asian kids. Their dad owned 40 properties. And with those 40 properties, he then said to me, TJ, listen, I've heard that you're a business person. I heard that you're relatively serious. I've heard you've made some mistakes. Here's 20 properties. So I officially started my property journey with someone handed me over 20 properties.
To manage?
To manage.
I was going to say,
oh, no, I wish.
I was about to say, well, set then, isn't it?
See, in my presentations, when I say that, everyone's like, oh, so how can he teach us how to start if he was given? But the truth is, I was handed over 20 properties. He said to me, Mr. Yusuf said to me, do you know how to manage properties? And I always say this part. We've heard Richard Branson say, if someone gives you an opportunity and you don't know what the heck to do, say yes. And I said, yes. So I went home, went on Google, typed in how to become an estate agent.
Can't be that difficult, can it?
It must be really simple if he's given them to me. On Google, the first thing that came up was Airbnb. So I took all of those properties, dumped every single property on Airbnb.
And were they in areas that...
They were scattered all over the place. So Bexley Heath, over in Kent, Welling, locally to me. So around the Kent kind of area, and a few around Eltham, just around, sprinkled around London. And I made so much money. I transferred the money from my PayPal to my current account, went into the bank, took it out as cash, put it in my rucksack, went to his house in Orpington. And he's like an old school gangster. So he didn't say anything. He could see me coming into his big massive drive, and then the gates are open. So I'm like, okay, cool, I like this.
He's a Bollywood gangster.
Yeah, you know what? Oh, yeah, you said it, I didn't say that. Yeah. I walked into his little small office just on the ground floor. And he welcomes me in, doesn't say anything, and I give him his money. And he sits there counting it. And I'm like, okay, cool, you must have counted it by now. Did I steal anything? Is anything missing? And then he slides across £3,000 across the table to me. But remember, I've just come back from a failed business. I don't want to touch money. I don't want to talk to anyone about money. I'm doing this because my mum's threatening to throw me out, and I'm hanging around with my cousin. He's hanging around with these people. By hanging around with my cousin, it means we're getting girls. So that was my main thing.
Okay, business fails. Next thing, get girls. Okay,
listen,
fine.
I'm telling you guys, listen, if your business fails, find girls. Because they'll make you feel better in the meantime until you pick yourself back up. Or get a mum like mine that kicks you up the bum and says, go and do something about it.
Yeah.
At that moment, he counted the money, gave me £3,000. I'm panicking. I'm saying, listen, I don't want this money. I don't want anything to do with money. I'm just doing this from the goodness of my heart. So I call my mum. And my mum gets on the phone and she says, let me speak to this man. Because my mum's panicking, thinking, who's trying to set up my son? My mum gets on the phone to Mr. Yusuf in a Nigerian accent. Why are you trying to give my son money? Obviously, that's a terrible Nigerian accent. That sounds,
I expected better.
I don't
I was
know
ready.
Yeah,
but
it's terrible. Mr. Yusuf said something which my mum got as a Christian, and it's quite biblical. It says, if a man works, he should eat. And at that point, my mum said, take that money right now and come home and pay rent. But literally. But then the relationship eventually broke down.
Between you and Mr. Yusuf?
Between me and his sons.
Oh,
because he had sons, but the reason he had given me the responsibility was his sons had calculated that when the dad dies, the son will get 2 million. The dad's worth 6 million. The son gets 2 million. The brother gets 2 million. The sister gets 1 million. And then the mum gets 1 million, which, again, I don't know. Culturally, it's unfair. It's sexist, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I think it is.
Yeah, they got jealous. So what goes up must come down. And I lost everything. That set me on my journey to realizing that, hold on 1 second, I didn't know property was even possible for someone like me coming from my background. But what you're saying is, I don't have the money to buy this stuff, but someone else has the money to buy it. All I've got to do is find the property, manage the property, stick it on Airbnb, and I'll make some money.
So you learned Rent to SA without knowing what the hell was
I didn't know
on.
what it was. So the first thing, when I lost all those properties, I needed to make it back because I was like, oh my God, I'm making money from this stuff. So I called every single estate agent. But I didn't know what I was saying. I didn't know it was called service accommodation. I was calling it Airbnb in or subletting.
How long ago was this?
2014, 2015.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm still 5 or 6 years into service accommodation. So I'm calling every agent and I'm saying, hi, Mr. Agent. And I thought it was a sick pitch. Hello, hi, Mr. Agent. Yes, or Mrs. Agent, sorry guys. Hi, agent. I want to rent your property because we're going to sublet it. Sorry, we don't do that. Oh, well, what I want to do is this, and because I didn't know what it was called. I was just running on pure energy, pure passion, and desperation to find some more properties. So my first few properties in service accommodation, I tell this story, was a property in Old Kent Road. Do you know Old Kent Road?
Yeah, I used to live near there. Actually.
Oh, okay.
Uni. Yeah.
So I took on a property in a block of flats. This block of flats...
Ex-council estate there?
Ex-council estate. So I took on that property. There's always piss. Can I say piss?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
There's always piss in the stairways. The place smelled.
Lovely. The stench of
It
London.
was one of the
Oudi London. Yeah, yeah.
literally Oudi London. Yeah, literally stunk. But that was the only property I could get. The boiler didn't work. The boiler would start off for a few minutes and then shut off. But I knew all of this stuff. I knew it. But I said to the landlord, this is what I want it for. And the landlord said, listen, this is the condition. The place is not suitable. But I said, no, it's suitable because I was desperate. But I was so embarrassed about that property that I put a lockbox in the property so I never had to meet the guest. Because if I met them, they would complain. But again, as you grow and you progress, you realize that this is not how you run a business. And my life completely changed, guys. Now I'm a good person. And now
no more stealing from
no
Sainsbury's.
more stealing from Sainsbury's. No more providing crappy little pissy service accommodation units. It's all about providing a good service. In fact, you can't get away with providing that sort of service
You
now.
won't get anyone there.
You won't get any customers. Your reviews will kill you straight away.
100%. So how did you go from, so you've had this entrepreneurial blood in you, that's undeniable.
Yeah.
You've failed, which is a lesson though. You've learned.
Yeah.
And now you're like, after this crappy Airbnb, how did you go from there to where you are now? In your email, when you sent to me, you said you had a lot of properties that you were...
Yeah.
So there was another learning.
So,
talk me through that transition.
So interesting, I just posted something on Facebook today. I'm going through this phase now, which I think is going to be my motto for the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years. So I go through these phases of me discovering certain things, and then I live by it. So I think 2, 3 years ago, it was reciprocity. So I discovered and I learned and I dig deep into what reciprocity is, which is why I'm a person of value. In terms of I lead with value first, because I know no matter what happens, income, money, everything else would flow. Reciprocity means a moral obligation. If I give you something, it means no matter how you feel, you will be obliged to give something back to me. So you don't have to lead with, I want this first, I want this. If you give, you will receive. Biblically, whatever religion you believe, karma, causation, yin and yang, there has to be the balance. So that was my favorite word. My second favorite word was just flip and do it, which means no matter what came in front of me, I would absolutely do it. Now, the phase I'm in my life right now is welcoming failure. I am the biggest failure, and I say that so positively, and I'm encouraging every single person is to look for opportunities to fail, because that's where your superpower is. So many of us are so focused on succeeding, but you're succeeding at level 1. But the failure is what takes you to level 2, because you're compounding on the lessons. So I'm seeking opportunities to fail. But I say that now, but when I failed in 2017 and my business literally fell on its face, I wasn't saying that then. I went back to my mum's house and I was crying again. And she said the same thing. Get your ass up, pay some rent. And I said, no, mum, I'm going to go
find
find
the reset switch.
Listen,
basically.
my mum is my G. My mum is a G. At any of my events, I get every single parent. I say, who's a parent in here? And they all think it's a positive thing. They're like, yeah, I'm a parent. And I said, I need every single one of you to stand up. And they're still thinking they're going to get a prize or something. And I say, I have a big, massive bone to pick with you. Because this is the truth. And I asked them 2 questions. Parents, who's heard of Stormzy? They all say, yes. Parents, who's heard of KSI, that YouTube guy with the weird laugh? And they're like, yeah. Parents, it doesn't have to be about an accountant, lawyer, engineer. Especially come from Nigeria. I don't know what it's like.
Yeah, same thing. Yeah.
Cool. So you must be an accountant. If you're you're not an accountant, you failed. If you're not a doctor, so and so. But the reality is this: if your child is showing any prospect in 2019, support them. Literally, I would never have made 1 penny. I wouldn't have what I believe is my looks and my confidence. I wouldn't be who I am today if I didn't have the support of my mum. Anything I want to do, I run it past my mum. Even now. Even with regards to how to deal with my staff, even if it's regards to how to deal with someone criticizing me on Facebook or someone saying this, I run it past my mum because there is no ulterior motive. So she can be the perfect soundboard to say, do you know what? You messed up. Go and deal with this. Or, listen, this is not the way you deal with stuff, because it's so far removed from the situation. It's pure. It's pure in heart. So I'm begging every single parent, support your kids if they're showing prospect. So, of course, if your child is still at home, and they say, Mum, I want to become a footballer, and they're in bed at 3 p.m. on a Monday, then of course give them a kick up the butt. But in saying that, as I said, I got into service accommodation and I started growing because my skill is sales. That's my background, going into recruitment, teaching sales, teaching recruiting. I've been doing sales for so long, I'm a good salesperson. So I know how to get landlords, agents, and developers to work with me. So I was able to scale the service accommodation business really quickly. We grew to 140 rent-to-rent service accommodation units. Again, same issue I had in Germany. It's not every single person will be successful. Not all the information you have is enough to take you to the next level. The problem is, everyone talks about mentoring. Should I get a mentor? Should this person charge for this? Absolutely yes. Because each time that I failed, like dramatically failed and lost money, it's because I didn't know what to do, but I thought I knew what to do and I didn't get the help. So that's why I preach it. Because look at it this way. A mentor is your superpower. Your mentor, every single one of us, we're all looking for superpowers. Some people are kind of freaks and pervs and they want superpowers to see through people's dresses, which is weird, guys. That's not me. I don't know. That's weirdos. Cool. But some people, we wish we could kind of see through buildings. We wish we could know what's going to happen in the future. That's a mentor. So think about it. If you're walking around the corner and there's an armed robber or there's someone about to steal from you, you can't see around the corner. But your mentor has been around the corner, they've experienced it, they know what's going on, and their eyes become your eyes. That's your superpower. So flipping it, take some money out of your pocket and pay your mentor to elevate you and take you to the next level. So and I wish I'd done that.
So that's a good piece of advice, because there are obviously people who are on the fence. And I think a lot of people are on the fence because they don't know how to find a good mentor, which is my next question. Yeah. If you could give people, I don't know, 3 top tips on identifying a good mentor, what would they be?
Cool. So this might get me in some trouble with some of the property gurus. Don't pay for mentorship off the cuff. Pay for coaching, pay for training. Now, one of the reasons why I don't mentor per se is because you will become reliant on me. That's a big problem. And I've tried mentoring before. Because of my style of mentoring, and I'm deeply involved because I want you to succeed, it means when you've got a decision to make, you run it past me. So every single thing, TJ, I'm looking for a service accommodation unit. The estate agent has said this. The landlord is saying this. What do I do? And I'm available to assist you. But once TJ gets removed, let's say TJ goes on holiday and I'm not available, then you're stuck because you can't make... You're reliant. So the point I'm trying to make is, if you're getting into a specific strategy, get an understanding for that strategy first. Understand it to the point that, is this a strategy I actually want to pursue before you jump into mentoring? So if you're looking for a mentor, I read this some time ago on someone's Facebook, so I'm just going to steal it. They said, do you trust the person in terms of, do you believe them? Have they been doing this long enough? And are they living the life that you desire to live? So that leads on to the nonsense that people post on Facebook, of course, the Lambos, the Ferraris, the whatever other cars and the shiny stuff that people post. So you've got to be able to look beyond that. So I say this because I put on events and I try my best to not show anything. The problem is the audience need to see some flashy stuff. Because think about this, Tej. You would never pay someone to take you to stage 2 or level 2 unless you genuinely believe they are doing better than you.
Yes.
Nobody pays somebody or says, hey, TJ, train me, if you perceive us to be on the same level. So what's the value? And I get why trainers show stuff.
Of course.
I get it.
We're magpies, isn't it? Humans love that stuff.
We need to see it. So when I tried, and again, similar to what I was talking about with one of my events that didn't go well recently, it's because I tried on that specific event to be as direct as possible and say, guys, it's not a get-rich-quick scheme. Service accommodation is certainly not a get-rich-quick scheme. In fact, service accommodation is not what it says on the tin, and it's not what it's preached to be. Yes. Service accommodation, guess what, guys, is a full-fledged business, not a strat. I sound like I'm preaching there. Hallelujah.
Amen, brother.
Amen. But service accommodation is a full-fledged business, and I always use this example. You do not go and start a Tesco supermarket without going through the management training, without getting some sort of manager guiding you through the process. So why do we think we can start all property strategies or property businesses without understanding it? Service accommodation has so many moving parts. Number 1, check-ins, guests, customer service. I was doing my own customer service for so long until I realized that my temperament doesn't allow it, and it was becoming evident in my reviews because I was doing my cleaning, doing the check-ins, doing the customer service all myself when I got back into it. This is pre-2017 where everything messed up. And I would get emails back from people saying, "Hi TJ, we're running a little bit late." And I'm like, "Well, if you're not here in 10 minutes, I'm going." Like literally, because remember, I'm cleaning
Very
10,
hospitable host you are, yeah.
Exactly. But I'm cleaning 10, 15 apartments myself.
Yeah.
So I've got to make sure that you're here on time so I can run to check in this person and do this. And I realized the reviews were reflective. And I couldn't.
And it's good you had that self or awareness from the crowd to let you know that, because it's hospitality, isn't it?
It is hospitality.
You have to be hospitable, and
yes,
it is difficult to do yourself. Even just let's say other, let's say buy-to-lets or HMOs. There are elements and aspects of that one late person or one late thing, your whole day is destroyed.
Absolutely, and it messes up the schedule for every other person. Mm-hmm. So if the cleaner's supposed to clean at 10 o'clock, but the guest doesn't check out till 12, then we're all running 2 hours behind. And if that cleaner has multiple jobs to do, then you've messed up the entire schedule for one person.
So hold on, going back to the original thing about how to find a good mentor. So we've got 2 points so far, but the last point was you want a mentor who has can show they've been successful. To split that, I also think, and this is very difficult to judge, but I think a mentor who's actually happy and fulfilled in life, which is obviously impossible to measure unless you speak to them and get to know them.
Yeah, you get to know them.
That is also someone I want to learn from.
But you know what? That's still showing you a certain side of life that you desire. Yeah. So don't get me wrong. I'm on a journey of seeking happiness. I don't believe happiness is a thing. I believe it's moments. I believe it's a journey, and I think that's where we seek the happiness from. But if I find someone that's selling happiness, then guess what? I'm putting my money out. Does that make sense? But genuinely, I've got to now look at their entire lives. I've got to look at their relationship. I've got to look at their relationship with their kids and say, you have something that I want. So again, going back to why people show the Lambos, and some people know that I bought a Lambo, and it's really interesting because
I saw that somewhere.
Yeah. I bought a Lamborghini, a Huracan. No.
So what,
it's on sale.
I come all this way. You don't give
you
me
should have told.
ride.
You should have told me. It's on the market.
This is Lamborghini color. They copied me.
Now ours is white.
They copied me. It's a Lamborghini. Listen,
Lambo, give them a sponsorship.
Yeah. Put me on the front of your car. Just I'll lie on it like I'm.
I bought. We bought a Huracan. We bought a Huracan, and we called it Beyonce. Everyone has. I've got a fascination. As you do. Yeah, I've got a fascination.
As you are Beyonce, yeah.
As I am Beyonce. You guys will find out another day. Anti-Beyonce, yeah. But it just shows I haven't generated one penny off the back of buying a Lamborghini.
And you could have easily.
Oh.
I did a parody video of my friend's Huracan.
I saw that. Do you know what I saw? That was incredible. I was like, yo, Ted, whatever you're selling, bro, I'm buying. But the truth is, if I pulled up every single time I had an event here with the car outside,
you would probably
my conversion would absolutely be skyrocket.
So why don't you? Because, why don't you?
I think it's unethical. Don't get me wrong. I believe people need to see certain things.
Yes,
I believe that. They need to see a little rollie on the hand and that. Yeah. I wish sometimes when I give a presentation, I put up my sleeve. Hey guys, No, but the thing is, I think it's unethical because I think it's creating this sort of imagery that this is what they need to pursue. Firstly, number one, I don't recommend, especially when I've got younger people in the audience, I do not recommend under any circumstance that they buy a flipping Lamborghini. It's the stupidest thing in the world. It's a liability. Fortunate for me, and this is why I get to explain it to people, I started off a car rental business. So it means I generate an income, which means I get to drive the car once ever so often, but I generate money by renting it out to people who are doing weddings. Asian people, you guys love to get married. You guys love to get married. And hire lots of cars.
And we love the cars.
Yeah. So my business partner's girlfriend, fiance, she's a wedding planner. So that's where we get most of our business from. But again, that's a completely different thing. That business is stressful. It's not worth it because there's so much risk. We have an over 25s policy, but we get over 25s booking it for younger people. So so it's a nightmare. But as I said, I get why people show. Because nobody would buy from me if on my presentation I didn't show them my service accommodation. I didn't show them the income I've been able to derive. I didn't show them certain things. Because you need to be inspired. And being inspired is what makes you take action.
Okay. So we've gone, you spoke about a few things you've done in life that we haven't spoken about yet. So you, in 2017, so you built up an SA business that in 2017 failed. Yeah. You went back to mum's. Yeah. But now you're back in it with an SA.
Yeah.
So why did that SA business, what went wrong with that?
I don't know if the word, because I'm trying to use property words, over leveraging, overextending. lack of knowledge. Look, so not every single person can run a £1 million business.
Of course, no, definitely
Yeah,
not.
not every single person can run a £10,000 a month business because it requires certain skills. So, sorry, I know I jumped on that. So I was talking about my skill is building. It's sales. Anything to do with humans, put me in front of there. I'll close the business and we'll get more properties on the book. So we were growing, but we were not taking care of the foundations, which is customer service. So which is why I say, and I'm brutally honest in service accommodation, it's not what it says on the tin. Service accommodation is rife with prostitutes, escorts, parties, fraud, stabbings. We had a situation, not us, but we put systems in place to ensure we don't get certain bookings, but someone across the road from one of our units in Canary Wharf was not aware of how to prohibit certain things. Middle of the night, 4 a.m., 5 a.m., they had a stabbing in one of their apartments. And these were the same people that had booked with us, but our system stopped them from getting into our properties and someone else. So I don't want to be on the receiving end when the police turn up and say, hey, why did this happen? Why did that happen?
Yeah.
And it happened on your premises. So we were not taking care of the foundational stuff, because all of these things lead to something called a chargeback. Are you familiar with what?
Yes, I've come across that a lot.
Cool. So in service accommodation, chargebacks happen for two reasons. Someone's not happy with the service. So someone says, listen, I'm not happy, and they get recommended to call their bank. Their bank asks them one simple question: did you receive the service in which you paid for? Now that's subjective, because,
Yeah, of
because
course.
when we were growing, people would then say, I didn't receive the service in which I paid for, because maybe their check-in was late, maybe customer service wasn't great, maybe the bed wasn't laid how they wanted it, and at that point you can file for a chargeback. Or fraud.
Yeah.
Which means someone uses someone's stolen credit card to come to your apartment, have a party, stay in your apartment, and then 2-3 months down the line, the owner of the card says, hey, I've never been to London. I live in Singapore. I've never been to London before. Guess what? Bah. And that carried on happening for quite a while. The merchant froze the account, held all the money. And of course, at that point, we're scaling. So we're focused on growing. I'm building relationships with landlords, agents, developers. I'm taking on developments left, right, center. I'm showing bank statements to developers to say, yo, listen, I know I dress like a tramp 99% of the time, but look at the statement. We're doing all right. I can pay your rent. That's my leverage. And they were like, you know what? Let's take a gamble on you. And then everything went, bam.
Wow.
Because when the accounts are frozen, what do?
Did you see this coming, or did it hit you?
No, it hit me in the face like that, literally. And
Slap across the face.
no, it wasn't even a slap. It was a backhand, like a proper one. Yeah, I don't know
I can feel that.
if your mum beat you when you were younger, but it was one of those ones. Like you're like, I cannot afford to have this again. But do you know what? So it
How
happened.
many units did you have at that point?
140. So not 140 completed. It was by the end of the year. So this happened in August. So by the end of the year, we were on track to have 140 completed. So in negotiation
Okay, fine.
to have
Yeah.
add an additional 60 or 70. So it was over 100 operating units. So yeah, that was major.
Painful,
But
yeah.
but people don't preach that. And people don't talk about that because they think that the audience or the people we're trying to get to come on our training courses are going to think that if this person failed, then what can they teach me? Whereas
They
it's
teach you
the
way more.
most ridiculous thing ever, because I'm in a position to make sure it doesn't happen to you, because it will happen. And it might not happen to you in the hundreds of thousands, but it will happen to you in 1,000, in 100, in 200. But by me going through it, by me failing, I'm in a unique position to show people that, yo, this is what happens in this game. Stabbings happen, we've put things in place. Fraud happens, we've put things in place. Chargebacks happen, we've put things in place. Escort happens. I don't know if we put things in place for the escorts, but no, that's a joke. But yeah, essentially, you just got to be careful.
So your business essentially got backhanded and came falling down again, which you obviously have experience with other businesses.
Yeah.
I agree with you in that I'd rather learn from someone who's failed, messed up quite a few times, and then become successful,
Yeah.
because it shows they've been through things and can get me out of it, like you said. So you had that business, and that went flop in
2017.
So went back home to mum. She kicked up the butt again, pressed reset,
Yeah.
and then you went back into SA.
Yeah. So I never left SA. I never said I'm out.
Okay.
So it was just a matter of
But you had to give all those essays back,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it
yeah,
was
yeah,
like
yeah.
a whole.
landlords taking their properties back. Developers are saying, yo, listen, that deal that we've got coming up, it's not happening anymore. People on
We've got a history of mistakes, of lessons learnt, of, I guess, new levels of armour added to you for what you can
Yes.
withstand, right?
Yeah.
Which is important, right? So then how did you again, sort of, I know you never left SA, but how did you then restart your business? And maybe, actually, what did you do different that can convert into practical tips for people starting their SA today?
Do you know, a really good question. So, first thing I did was got a slap from my mum. Literally, as we said, as per restart button. Because sometimes you feel sorry for yourself.
Of course.
So you're there moping around, and Tony says it. I say Tony like he's my friend. Tony Robbins.
Oh, Tony.
Tony, you know, speaking to him the other day. Yeah, success leaves clues. So I know, because I've done it before, I can replicate this again. This is why I keep preaching to every single person. Flipping, just do. If you've got an idea, do it. Get some experiences under your belt and start to believe that you can do it. I thought, hold on, if I can go to agents and persuade them to give me properties to take on myself or to sell on, then I can go back to them again and get them to do exactly the same thing again. And that's what I did. I just carried on going back to agents and I say, look, this is the situation. Now I don't have the big bank balance to show you guys. However, it's relationship. Again, lead with value. This is one tip for any single person that's trying to do rent to rent, that's trying to even do any property deal with service accommodation, whatever it is, lead with value. So I fell into deal packaging by mistake, because at that point, this was again right at the beginning. So if you remember correctly, people were saying no. When I was calling them up saying, Mr. Agent, I want to take on this property to sublet or to Airbnb, and they were like, no, no, no. About a year later, Airbnb started becoming a lot more prominent. So my phone started ringing from the same agents that I built relationships with. So they were like, oh, hi, TJ. Yes, you called us last year about this property in Waterloo. You called us about this property in Maidavale. Do you still want it? But at that point, I was saying, well, no, I'm only concentrating on Greenwich, Canary Wharf area. And then one agent changed my life. And this is why it's good to listen. Just before we hung up on the phone, he said, do you know what, TJ? Do you know anyone else that might want this? And I was like, well,
good question from them.
Really good question. And I said, do you know what? I don't know, but I'll find out for you. I posted it on Facebook. Someone came along, and all I didn't know deal packaging was even a strategy. I didn't know. I fall into these things, but because of my kind of hunger, if I can make £1, then it's possible to make 100K. It's possible to do multiple six figures. So I put the agent and this person together, and I said, you guys enjoy your relationship. A month later, I got paid £800. He said to me, hey, TJ, can I have your bank details? I was like, what for? He was like, I paid me £800.
That's very kind of someone to do that.
Very nice of him. Again, guys, if you're selling deals, don't charge £800. But I didn't charge £800. That's the lowest fee I've ever taken for a deal. But as I said, it set me off on another course. And I was like, wait, you're saying all I've got to do is find a deal, negotiate on a deal, find someone that wants that deal. Again, just like service accommodation, I went crazy. So we're selling a heck load of deals because people want to get into strategies. I'm a good salesperson. I know how to build relationships. So again, it's a matter of utilizing the skills that you've developed. So many people are running away from building skills. So they would rather pay a sourcer to find them a deal. Now, I know I'm shooting myself in the foot. If you're looking for deals, come and holler at me. But at the same time, one thing I do offer every single person that comes to me for a deal, I say, well, you can pay me £3,000 for a deal, or I can teach you how to do the same thing. And many people say, no, do you know what? No, I'll pay you for a deal. And I'm like, I'm giving you a skill here. But it's up to them.
There's a huge market for sources because of people don't want to put the work in. And that's not a bad thing.
No, it's not a bad thing.
If you've got tons of money, are you really, if I had £1 million, am I going to, no.
But you know what it is?
Really.
I've been paid in excess of £60,000 to find developments for people. People have paid me thousands and thousands to find them deals. And I'm like, I've offered you right at the beginning the ability to teach you, and it was going to cost you less than 3K.
And for people listening who want to package deals, where can you find investors like that?
Facebook.
I knew you'd say that.
Yeah,
obvious as that.
Facebook, literally as Facebook. Again, things have changed now. So for the people I teach deal packaging, I don't recommend you post your deals on Facebook because there are competitors, there are haters. It gets to the point of you post a deal. So in fact, one of my first ever deals that I started selling was a deal that would have made someone £300. Now, to the property market, that's a shitty deal. You say, oh my God, £300 and you're asking for £2,000 from it. In fact, one of the...
£300 a month.
£300 a month. And so for you guys, that's great. But for us service accommodation people...
I was thinking, wait, what's going on? Yeah.
Oh no, it's like, yeah, so for us, it's a crappy deal. But it's not, because the reality is I couldn't find anyone to buy this deal because one of the trainers commented under my post saying, hey, £300 a month, that's a bit of a crappy deal, or, oh, that's not a good deal. So that hit my confidence. I was like, shit, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm learning this stuff. I'm trying to sell this deal. Now this guru's come out and said, it's not right. So guess what I did? Guess who I sold that deal to? You never believe. Guess who I sold the deal to?
Your mum.
Absolutely. Yes. Yes, literally, my mum. Literally, because think about it this way. This is what I'm saying.
Oh, man,
Do
I was
not
just taking the piss,
despise.
but-
Yeah, no, it's the truth. Do not despise the little deals. Because think about it. I might only take on a unit that makes me £700, £800 a month. But there are people who, you've got 10k sitting in the bank. Your interest rate is 1%. You're making £100 per year on that unit.
And you're losing it with inflation.
And you're losing it with
yeah.
inflation. So I said to my mum, again, I went back to her to tell her about this idiot that commented. I'm actually friends with this person now anyway. So I went back and I said, Mum, you'll never believe it. This silly man tried to attack me and said my deal was crap. And she was like, well, is the deal crap? That's what my mum is. Like, is the deal crap? Are you trying to sell crap? And I showed her the deal. She said, £300. That's a better Nigerian accent. Yeah. £300 per month? And all I have to do is clean? I said, Mum, yeah, that's it. Like, I don't get why they don't get it. She said, I will take it right now. And I promise you, my mum still has that same unit right now in Dartford. And what she does is when she travels and when she goes to Nigeria, she gives it to someone in her church to clean. And the person that cleans it generates all the money. And that's her way of helping her church. That's her way of helping other people. But for £300 a month, that's an incredible return to my mother. So that's what I'm saying. So look, with deal packaging, of course, don't sell crappy deals. But again, there are customers out there at different stages and at different levels. Would I buy a deal that makes me £300 a month on a service accommodation unit? No, I wouldn't. But would I buy something at £700? Yes. But would someone else buy something else that outperforms what they're currently doing? Of course.
Of course
They would.
One person's junk, another person's treasure.
That's the truth.
All
And
day long.
That's how I fell into deal packaging. But again, just going back, these tiny little skills that I'd acquired, or these tiny little nuggets of I can do this, is what helped me get myself back up. And
So, are you still deal packaging?
Yeah.
How many deals do you reckon you package a month now?
So my deal packaging is a bit different now, and I will answer that question. We probably pull in over £20,000 per month in deals. My deal
Okay.
packaging is different to how other people are doing it now. I spent 2.5, 3 years building my email list. So this is the thing that many people forego. So you go in a deal packaging training, they teach you every single strategy in the world, and they say, young butterfly, go out there. And then that's what you see people, go fly away. And you hear people saying, hey, which comes first? Should I find the deal or find the investor? Well, the truth is, in my opinion, you find the investor, because there are less investors than there are deals. Because there are deals out there. There's properties, there's land, there's rentals. Because think about it, the most common strategy is the typical buy-to-let. So most people buy a property with the intention of renting it out. So I'm talking about service accommodation and rent-to-rent, guys. So what I've done over the last few years is I've built an email list of thousands of people. And these thousands of people are sitting there saying, TJ, we trust you as a deal packager. You nurture that email list. I built the relationship with them. When I go on holiday, I send them a selfie saying, hey guys, I'm on holiday. What that does is it builds the relationship. When I fail, I send them a message saying, hi guys, My customer service, because I use some VAs for my sourcing, my customer service is terrible. I send emails to these guys. They will testify, because some of them will listen to this. Hey guys, our customer service is rubbish, but don't worry, I'm back on top of it. I'll help you. I'll do this. That builds trust.
Honesty, yeah.
It's honesty. But guess what? There's no competitor. There's no guru in my email list.
You own it.
That's my relationship. So what I've done is I've built up a list of thousands of people. Then I teach people and I train people how to get into the strategy. And then I sell deals. So they go out now. So it's like, I don't want to call them minions, because you're not my minions, guys. But I'm just giving an example. So I teach you, you go out there, you find the godfather, TJ, the deals, and I plug it into my system. I send it out. I get a client that buys. So that's why. So when people say, is deal packaging remote? It can be done remote, because I was on holiday in Mykonos 2 months ago, and I generated over £6,000 on a 4-day holiday by just sending out an email. That's why I was buying champagne bottles out there, Pete. Yeah. Champagne lifestyle.
Stunning with the goose.
Yeah.
I've seen that.
It's just the champagne life. Pete.
So this is interesting.
Yeah.
Now, when it comes to sourcing, I think the email list is super powerful because, and people like Gary Vee say this, you own that. If Instagram closes tomorrow, Facebook closes tomorrow, what are you going to do? Sue them.
Absolutely.
They're going to laugh at you. Emails is your baby. You own it. So that's a message for everyone. I have a mailing list. Have I been doing it actively? No, I haven't.
Brother, that's your...
I need to be on it.
Yeah.
Yes, I do. And it's gonna pump up today. That is super powerful.
Do you know what? Thank you, actually. Oh, God, I'm blushing now. Do you know what? It's
I meant the
interesting.
strategy, not you.
Oh, shame. You're terrible. You're terrible. Do you know what's interesting? You say that, and it's not just for deal packaging. We take the same concept and we apply it to the events. We take the same concept and we apply it to serviced accommodation.
Yep.
Because what we did last year, not this year, the year before that, we sent an email out to around 30,000 people that have stayed with us over and over across all apartments. Okay. And we said, hey, who's coming to this location over Christmas? And we had emails back saying, hi, we're coming back. Oh, hi, I stayed in apartment 201. I stayed in blah, blah, blah. Is this available? And we booked in over 11, maybe £12,000 just from emails.
And no commission, right?
No commission, no chasing, because it's just the link, you make your payment.
There we go.
See, what the mistake many people are, you've just hit the nail on the head. You don't own anything. When you're not OTAs, you don't own anything. I've been thrown off Airbnb multiple times. I've been thrown off Booking.com multiple times. So I'm always going to push it to see how far I can take the relationship. So what happens? I panic when I get thrown off because I'm like, oh my God, this is how I generate my money. But the truth is, there are so many other ways that you need to start implementing so you own the relationship. You don't own Facebook. Facebook could ban you tomorrow. And if that's where you get all of your business from, then what's going to happen? If you're looking for investors, start creating an email list and nurture that email list. Send an email a day, send an email a week. Just let them know two things: that you're still alive.
Yep.
The reason why I've got people sitting there, they could go to any other sourcer, but they trust TJ. They say, TJ, I'm waiting for you to deliver a deal. Why? Because they know that I'm not running away. They've been receiving emails from me for 6 months. They've been receiving emails for 12 months.
Yeah.
Trust is built and nurtured in your email list. It's the go-to thing that anyone that's in any strategy should be doing.
And what software do you use? MailChimp?
MailChimp. Simple
MailChimp for everyone. It's great and it's free to a certain level.
Yeah.
It is fiddly to design. It's not as great as it could be.
I don't use it for design. So I use Lead Pages. So I create a landing page on Lead Pages. So again, websites, in my opinion, are 2009. That's what they are. I use all my things are Lead Pages. So it means I can instantly design them within minutes, but also it has a focus. Because when someone comes on a landing page, so for example, when we run ads to landlords and agents and we're looking to onboard new landlords and agents, we send them to a landing page. That landing page is directed in a specific location to get them to carry out a specific action. Your website is built generically.
As
and
a shop front,
it's a shop front, and it's got so much information that, first and foremost, nobody reads every content on your website. Have a simple page that says everything you want it to say and direct them to taking out the action, which is giving us their contact number, giving us their email address, following up with a call. That's all you've got to do. Do it across every single business that you do, because the truth is, right now, if Booking.com throw me off again, if Airbnb throw me off again, I would survive for at least a month, because I would send an email out to every single person saying, hey guys, are you coming into this area? Hey, can we build relationships? Service accommodation is not just the OTAs. That's what it's taught, because all we know is Airbnb and Booking.com. Firstly, there are 40 odd platforms that you should be on, but at the same time, you don't own any of those relationships. For the people that don't know, your relationship with Booking.com is so fickle because they own that customer. They own the relationship with that customer, which means you have to oblige to their policy. So Booking.com says you cannot cancel this reservation because we want our commission. So you can't even cancel the reservation on Booking.com unless you do certain things. But if you own the relationship, that's your customer. If you've got a killer or a murderer that's trying to book your service accommodation, you write an email to Booking.com, hey, I've just checked the newspaper, this person is a known killer, I don't want them to stay. Booking.com says, so what's your point? We still want our 15% commission.
Computer says no.
Yeah, computer says no, literally. But again, it's about ownership. You've got to own something so you can control that relationship.
I think this is important across business. Like, I don't have an SA. I might have a buy to SA, but even all my friends who do SA, I always say to them, are you trying to get direct bookings? When someone checks them in, are you getting their email? Are you also maybe building a brand of your SAs are probably sexy, right? They have to be.
Yeah, they have to be.
You have property porn right there that could build your brand way more than my buy-to-let, grey and white, 4 walls. Like, you have furniture, you have so much. If you build a brand and maybe do ads from it, you could get people
Booking direct.
So you may never correct me if I'm wrong. You may never need an OTA after the first few months if you create a strong enough brand.
I'm so happy you said that, because that's an important differentiation. You absolutely do need the OTA, because what you do when you don't have an email list is you convert those clients into your clients eventually.
Yeah.
So I had a guy called Simon. Simon booked through Booking.com once, and because I saw he had a corporate email address, every time there's a corporate email address, used to, because they've now changed it, but I saw there was a corporate email address. I went and met him and I said, "Oh, Simon, what's the situation? Why are you here? Where are you currently staying?"
Yes.
He said, "Oh, I work for HSBC. I'm on a contract with HSBC." So he ended up staying with me for 1 whole year, commission free. Why? Because I followed up and I had a system. But this is where people miss out, referrals. I said to Simon, "Do you know anyone else who's on the same project as you or who's in the same situation?" He said, "Yeah, of course. My mate Terry." Terry, don't want to say he's Terry F. Terry ended up staying with me for a good 8-9 months. No commission. 3 days a week, both of them. But this is how you make money from service accommodation. Because if you're paying, think about this, if you're generating £100 per booking, you've got to pay corporation tax. That's 20%. 19-20%.
Yeah,
You've got to pay VAT once you hit the threshold,
Yep.
20%. You've got to pay Booking.com's 15%. That's 55%.
Yeah.
This is what they don't teach you.
And then operating costs is on the top of it,
Running
right?
the entire business, so you've got cleaning costs. So from every £100, you're really looking at £20-30 until you've got economies of scale playing
Yes.
in your favour.
Yeah.
But of course, when you go to an event, they tell you you're going to become a billionaire overnight, which you're not. So one of the reasons I'm honest with this strategy is, if you do it correctly, you can change your life. But the aim of the game is scaling. Forget trying to become a billionaire from one unit. Focus on getting one. Take the profit from one unit, use that to take on your second unit. That stops you from being greedy, and that stops you from over leveraging and growing too quick. That's the mistake I made, because I had cash. I had investors running to give me money. So I said, "Listen, I've got this cash. I want to spend it and I want to do something with it." So you keep growing and growing and growing, and guess what? You're not thinking. But if you had to only grow through profit, it takes a lot longer. Do you understand? It takes significantly longer, but what that does is you make sure all the ground is covered, because you're not moving at full speed, but you're at least moving and it's going steadily. So I'm just saying, listen, guys, be cautious. Service accommodation is an incredible thing that's changed my life and changed hundreds of people's lives, but it's not going anywhere, because the truth is this: how long have hotels been around for?
Yeah.
They've been around for centuries, would I say? Centuries?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
People have been staying in hotels for centuries. Think about this. 2017, 36 million people came into the UK as overnight stays. 2018, 40 million people. And right now, those 40 million people are spending £28 billion on luxury goods and hotels. So service accommodation isn't going anywhere. So all you've got to do is make sure that you are competitive and you're competing well with the hotel, and you're able to ethically, which is what I teach, steal traffic from these hotels and turn them into your customer. But there are certain things you've got to put in place to make sure you can actually grow the business. Forget the headline figures, because the headline figures are headline figures. There
Vanity,
are real costs. It's vanity. It's vanity. You want to make yourself sound great. Hey guys, my unit makes me £2,000 a month. No, it doesn't, love. So again, as I said, don't jump into something just because it looks shiny. Focus on one strategy, which is why I only do deal packaging and service accommodation. And deal packaging came as a byproduct of doing service accommodation. And that's what people need to do. People are doing 60 billion other strategies and doing 70 billion masterminds. And I'm like, what strategy are you following so you can become the expert and the go-to person and know how to actually build this? But if you're doing 25 different strategies, you're going to fail. But you won't have the time to reassess why you failed, because you'll move to the second strategy.
Yeah. And that's wise advice. That is a compliment to you, not the it's to you this time.
I take that. I take that.
I think what you said about the going by profit. If I speak to the buy-to-let investors here who are listening, it's just never going to.
Yeah.
I'll be 100. I've got my second property, guys. I'm about to die. But
You know what? You're very right.
Yeah.
But this is why I say every single person should have a rent to SA in their portfolio.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
But what you said about kind of going by profit, I think when it comes to buy-to-let and other things, there's definitely wisdom in saying that be careful.
Yeah.
Because for me, right, I've got X many investors loaning me money. Some are, if they're bridges or whatever, some are monthly interest, some are quarterly, some are yearly. I have to work out, okay, my monthly interest is going out to bridges and other investors. Is my rent coming in about to match? And actually, I've raised like, I don't know, 300 grand, but it took me a few weeks afterwards to be like, maybe I should do a spreadsheet.
Yeah.
Maybe
I should know what the flip is going on.
What's going in, what's going on. And actually, you won't believe this, when I did it, I'm making £10 a month profit.
No.
But this is with X many investors,
Yeah, of course.
and
I
only
kept paying
a
everyone
few
else.
rentals.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I thought, I was like, this is really good. It sounds really crap, of course it does.
Yeah.
But the fact that I'm at
It's
least
all
breaking, it's on the right side,
Yes.
means that yes, I'm not making money for my business. I don't care about,
Yeah.
because I'm paying my investors. That's a priority. I've got savings. We're good. But at least I'm not minus 400 a month.
That's the truth.
And,
That's the truth.
and that is where your advice comes into play in any strategy.
Yeah, of course. I mean, for you buy to let people, of course, when I say you buy to let, guys, I'm not begrudging you. I actually love you guys. But again, listen, stop talking down to us because we're rent-to-renters. Yes, I know, flipping it, well done. You kind of own your properties, well, the bank does, but you kind of own it more than we own the rent-to-rent units.
You preaching again, okay.
Listen, no, you know what, I'm just talking about what I see online. Oh my God, rent-to-rent is not, service accommodation is not, rent-to-service accommodation is not a real strategy. Well,
Look, in my opinion, if it makes money and it's ethical and it's legal, then it is what it is. That's how I see it. Like, look, yes, you don't have an asset. You don't have what they categorize as wealth.
Yeah,
But
you're
if
running
you're
a
getting,
business.
if you're getting 10 grand a month and I'm getting 5, but I have assets, I mean, in my opinion, who's winning? You
No,
really.
right
in my
now,
opinion.
right now, yeah, of course, right now.
Of course,
because
yeah,
we've
yeah.
all got bills to pay, and income is the game right now, and capital appreciation is for later. So I'll deal with the capital appreciation later.
Yeah.
And yeah, you keep to you, boo.
Someone's don't comment bad things on
Yeah,
Twitter.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
You're about to get shouted out
Yeah,
on this.
yeah, listen, make sure I don't say your name. But you know what, it's interesting, because we were talking about this earlier on, why I formed the training business and what my focus
Yeah,
is.
which is my next question.
Oh,
so
yeah.
you train.
Yes.
I'll take a picture of it. Like your Breakthrough Academy with
Yes.
TJ Atkinson is
Yes,
there.
sir.
Talk to me. Yeah, just talk to me about your training and what Breakthrough is and
Okay.
the books and give me the source. Like
Okay,
everything.
cool. Give me the source. Yeah,
Yes.
well, my business is called The Source, but yeah, give me the source. I started training for 2 reasons. I saw that other people were doing it, and I found a perfect transition. So it was a matter of, it didn't take me away from my current business, which is why I still kind of do my training around my current business. And it's not a full-fledged training business in terms of that's not all I do. But one of the reasons I wanted to train, and one of the reasons I focused my attention on a specific demographic, is because I wished when I was younger, someone had kind of woken me up to the reality of what's possible. So again, yes, people say self-appointed guru. Well, yeah, you've got to appoint yourself until the nation
You are
appoint
the-
you.
yeah, you're the boss,
So
so you got-
I'm the boss. So I took it upon myself in terms of, look, think about it this way. Property is regarded, whether you agree or not, as a rich white man's sport. So traditionally, coming from where I come from, we all live in council estates. The council owns the flat. We're renting a flat from someone. We're just about putting up with whatever we're given. So there's no thought in your head, unless you break away from that cycle, which is difficult. You don't say, there's a chance I might buy this entire council block one day. It just doesn't cross your mind. But it takes someone to open your eyes and say, do you know what? It's actually possible. So one of the reasons why I teach service accommodation rent to rent, and I said this some time ago, it's the first time I've actually said it, because I try and keep this stuff quiet, because I don't want people to think it's a gimmick or something I'm doing for publicity. But what I did was I took rent to rent service accommodation back to the hood. I literally went to where I was born and raised. I wasn't born there, where I was raised in Camberwell, and I went back and I said, guys, listen, this is what I'm doing now. I've got at least 10 people that are now doing serviced accommodation, making if not £400, £500 per month on a rental unit. But the reason why I'm excited about that is these were bona fide people that there's a likely chance that they could find you in the street and rob